So, Norwich fans, we're back. The international break is over. Norwich City's head coach search is over, and we have found our man. But it's been a merry-go-round of names just to get to this position. We've had the likes of Gary O'Neill, Russell Martin, Daniel Farker, Marek Papson, Yondal Thomason, Brendan Rodgers. I'm pretty sure there's a few more names in that list that Norwich City have had to go through to find their man, whose name wasn't really revealed till this morning. No Norwich fan knew that we were linked with our new head coach, which is Philippe Clement, ex-Rangers, ex-Monaco, ex-Club Brugge, ex-Genk manager or head coach. Certainly a good list of clubs that he's managed at. And Norwich City have got a hell of a coup here. It's a hell of a coup. We've got a very, very good head coach. I'm very excited by Philippe Clement. And yeah, Ben Napper must have sold him an absolute dream to join this project in its current state. I'm pretty sure the Athanasios would have helped him sell it, because I'm sure Ben Napper probably would have struggled with that, considering his position is probably up for grabs as a sporting director as well. But less said on that, the better. In terms of Philippe Clement, he's got a very good record. Very good record. I believe at the last 4 clubs he's been at, the clubs that I listed off earlier, the lowest points per game record he has is 1.73, and that was at Monaco. I'm pretty sure the highest points per game record that Liam Manning had at Oxford, which was at Oxford, is something like 1.69. So Philippe Clement is a manager that knows how to win games. And also in terms of scoring goals, which Norwich City seem to be struggling with at the minute, he's got a good record there. I think at all those 4 clubs, he averages around either just over or just under 2 goals scored per game, but does have around 1 goal conceded per game. So we can say his football is entertaining in terms of scoring goals, conceding goals. We do need to be a bit more resilient defensively and not concede as many goals, but we also at the same time need to get scoring. And I think Philippe Clement could get a tune out the fiddle, as Jack likes to always say. So yeah, no, I'm extremely excited. Obviously, these are just reading off stats this morning. Look, I'll be lying to you if I said I've watched so much of Philippe Clement coming into doing this video. I haven't, and I'm sure a lot of Norwich fans haven't. I've obviously seen bits of him at Rangers and whatnot, and in Champions League games for Club Brugge and Monaco, and European games and whatnot. I've seen a little bit. Can't say I've seen loads. So I'm just going off what I've researched today when I have been able to during work. But yeah, it's all very, very exciting. He's very sort of adaptable in his formations. Predominantly likes to play a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-4-2, which I think kind of suits Norwich at the minute, a 4-4-2. I mean, with Viscorin and Sargent up front, I think he could definitely get a tune out of those two in terms of scoring goals. So that excites me. He's also got experience of playing 3 at the back. So again, very adaptable in terms of formations. And that's always very promising. I think one thing that really does stand out to me, looking at the squads that he's had in the past and the players that he's playing for him on a regular basis, was his midfield too, who always seem, based on the player profiles that he's had in previous clubs, very athletic midfielders in terms of running and doing running numbers. So it'd be interesting to see which midfielders at Norwich kind of fit that category, because if I'm honest, I love Jacob Wright. I've been screaming for him to start. I don't know if Jacob Wright is much of an athletic sort of box-to-box running midfielder. I mean, he might be. I think maybe Pelle Matson and Kenny McLean probably fit that category the best. But then again, I don't know if Norwich do have 2 athletic midfielders. It'll be interesting to see that all happen at Norwich, and how Philippe Clement sort of adapts Norwich's midfield, because I think calling it athletic at the minute is definitely a word I wouldn't use to describe Norwich City's midfield. Unathletic, maybe, but yeah. So it'd be interesting to see what he does there and how he gets these players to adapt to his football, because I mean, it's not similar to Liam Manning's. I mean, we never really saw Liam Manning's style of football, if I'm perfectly honest. So I can't really base it off that. But I think Johannes Forret maybe would be a lot easier to base it off. Johannes Forret was all about keeping the ball and, being able to break down teams in a low block and, use possession wisely. But hearing what Rangers fans have said is that Philippe Clement his style of football isn't really suited for breaking down a low block. It's very aggressive in the press. very quick at moving the ball from defence to attack, and it gets goals. It scores goals, and I mean it's interesting to hear that. Obviously, he didn't really struggle in Scottish Premier League the Scottish Premier League, but did struggle in terms of breaking down low blocks. And I don't think he's going to have that issue at Norwich and in the Championship, because there are so many quality teams in the Championship. You're very rarely going to come up against a side that is going to sit in a low block against you, especially Norwich at this current stage. Teams will come at us and be licking their lips at the sight of Norwich, considering how bad we've been this season. This squad isn't going to be rejuvenated after 1 week with Philippe Clement. It's going to take time. You might have that new manager bounce, who knows, but these players are still lacking confidence. And, it's been a real confidence hit so far this season. We are very short of it. So, teams aren't going to be setting up in a low block against us, but teams will be very on the front foot. So it'll be about how Norwich are aggressive in their press from the front, winning the ball back high up the pitch and creating goal-scoring opportunities and scoring goals, ultimately. But I'd also like to see Philippe Clement make sure that defence is resilient, resolute, and keeps opposition teams from big scoring chances. Because there's only so many times I can take us, having 25 shots against and an XG of 4 against and whatnot. So, it's exciting times ahead for Norwich. People that have watched Philippe Clement's football over the years and I've spoke about it online, said this is a hell of a coup for Norwich, and I'm very, very excited. I think we've done very, very well with his head coach appointment, and it'd be interesting to see what his first 5 games look like. I think it'd be very hard to judge him after Birmingham at the weekend, but yeah, his first 5 games, hopefully we see some improvements, some stylistic changes, and some results. I think ultimately that's what Norwich City need the most. But yeah, be interesting to see. But welcome Philippe Clement. Fingers crossed we can stay up. Maybe a playoff push. Why not? Why not? I'm feeling a bit of optimism now. You know what I mean? A new head coach. Why not? It's what football fans thrive off. But realistically, let's just stay up. That's the aim. Anything more is a bonus. It's an absolute bonus. But staying up is the goal now. But yeah, let's see what Philippe Clement is all about throughout the course of this season. We'll see you in the next one.